So recently, Kelly Rowland released her EP called the Kelly Rowland Edition. My question is, where does Kelly go from here? Let's talk. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of What's Poppin'. So today I want to talk about Kelly Rowland. As I mentioned, she recently released her new EP called the Kelly Rowland Edition, which was a partnership with Red Bull Studios. I just want to talk through my thoughts on each track and then talk really about where I think Kelly needs to go musically from here. All of the featured artists from the EP are rising talent in the industry, which is something I really respect from Kelly. She's always promoted new artists and upcoming talent, and it's clear from her roles on The X Factor and also some of the girl bands that she's managed in the past, that she's really an advocate for promoting new talent. So it's quite nice to see that a lot of the talent on the EP are rising stars and rising talent in the industry as well. Now the EP itself has 3 different tracks, and I'll be going through each of the tracks, just giving a very high level overview of the track and also my thoughts as well. So the first track is called Don't You Worry. Now the first thing that really stands out to me with this track is it's very 90s R&B. Anybody who grew up in that era will easily be able to relate to that from the first 5 seconds of listening to the track. It really gives me Brandy Best Friend vibe. So the track called Best Friend by Brandy, if any of you know that, then you'll definitely be able to hear that when you listen to this track as well. Now, in terms of the vocals, Kelly's vocal abilities feel a little bit safe on this track. It almost feels as though she's singing, but she's not really trying to over-sing, if that makes sense. And that's not a bad thing at all, but I think at this point in Kelly's career, she really needs to be able to show us what she can do, and she's done that before in other tracks. So I'm not sure if maybe the vibe of the song was meant to be a little bit more laid back. As I said, it sounds like a 90s track or a 90s inspired track, and back then it wasn't all about showing out with your vocals. It was more about, the rhythm and the blues, hence the name. So maybe, that's kind of why Kelly took more of a backseat. I'm not sure, but she's definitely got it within her. But overall, this track gives me a lot of summer vibes. It reminds me of, being out, riding around, just listening to this track. But like I said, anyone who likes old school R&B, should really like this track as well. The second track on the EP is called Diamonds. Now this is more of a pop/R&B track. For some reason I wasn't able to connect with this song, and I'm not sure why. It feels like something is missing. I'm not a fan of the beats, and I don't think the production really meshes well with Kelly's vocals. Kelly's got a really smooth voice. She can really sing. I just feel like something is off with this combination and this pairing, but as I said, I'm not sure what it is. I can't put my finger on it. It really reminds me of like an old school Usher song. I like the message of the song, so you're a diamond and you kind of should know your worth. I like that, but I just don't. There's just something missing with this track, and I'm not too sure what it is, if I'm honest. The final track, and this is my favourite off the EP, is called See Me. Now this is very much like how Motivation was. So the track called Motivation, also by Kelly. This to me could have really been amazing with Kelly's vocals, if again she'd kind of pushed herself with her vocal ability. Sometimes her vocals feel quite controlled, and I think that's probably been Kelly's main issue. If I had to kind of put one out there, is her vocals always feel quite controlled, almost like she's holding back a little bit. And I feel like if Kelly learnt to let go and kind of really relinquish that control, I think she could really be quite powerful on a track, because you can hear that her vocals are quite strong. And I feel like a track with this, if she really let go, she could have really done well on this. I really like Kelly's confidence on the track, and I really like Kelly's confidence on this track. You know, she says things like, it feels so good when you leave it all over me, love it all over me, you know how to come for me. She's really kind of evolved into this strong, independent woman, and we've seen that journey, which I'll talk later on about, of Kelly Rowland, and kind of her journey as a woman and her journey through the musical industry, I suppose. But Kelly, to me, is at her best when she's making that baby making music. As I said, Motivation was a whole bop, and this See Me is kind of similar in that it's something that I can imagine you laying down with your significant other and just kind of having fun and kind of loving each other in bed, so to speak. So I think she should really kind of explore that avenue of music, very similar to how Miss Jackson is known for her baby making music. I think Kelly Rowland's got that X factor when it comes to that as well. So that's kind of the end of the EP. The EP itself was okay. I've seen mixed reviews online. Some people really like it because of the musical influence, and I think a lot of people are kind of hungry for new Kelly music. But then I've also seen the other side where they feel like Kelly's holding back, or she's not really exploring herself and exploring her musical ability the way she should. So that's quite disappointing, and from my point of view, I think Kelly's had quite a mixed career, both in terms of her success, but also in terms of the genre of music that she kind of puts out. I know that Kelly's done a lot of R&B, but she's also done quite a lot of dance music, particularly in Europe and the UK. And I feel that personally, I think Kelly should go down the dance route. She's had a lot of success with that in the past, working with David Guetta, Alex Gardino, and I think that this really kind of separates her from Michelle and Beyonce, her bandmates from Destiny's Child, as they tend to stick to more R&B and gospel and things like that, whereas Kelly's already explored dance music and it's clearly shown it's worked for her. So I think even though I prefer R&B music, I think Kelly should, for commercial success, go down the dance route. As I said, she's always done well there. I thought it was quite interesting actually, because I followed Destiny's Child all the way back from No No No, back in 96 I think it was. It was 96, and Kelly always came across to me as more a little bit more hood when it came to the group. So you had Beyonce, who was kind of the pretty girl, you had LaToya and Kelly, who were the more hood chicks, and then kind of Latavia kind of just sat back as the kind of quiet cute chick. That's how they all came across to me. So I was quite interested when Kelly kind of separated off, because when she first branched out from Destiny's Child, she obviously worked with Dilemma, so we worked with Nelly on Dilemma, but then she also released her own music. So Star was kind of the first single, and that was very pop, and I was quite surprised that she took that route, if I'm honest. I was also quite surprised looking back that she'd only released 4 albums, because when I think about Kelly, I think she's put out so much music and that she's got such a great catalogue of music, that only over 4 albums really surprised me. Also looking at the albums, there's been varying degrees of success. So her first album, Simply Deep, was released in 2002. That actually went platinum in the UK and gold in most other territories, including the USA and Australia. Miss Kelly, which was one of my favourite albums from her, was released in 2007. Here I Am was released in 2011, and that also went silver in the UK. And then Talk a Good Game was released in 2013. So as I said, I was quite surprised that Kelly only had 4 albums, but I think in those 4 albums she's got a fantastic body of work. I think it's quite interesting that Beyonce and Kelly started in that same group, as they've gone in very, very different directions, and I think the fact that Kelly's always compared to Beyonce or always measured to her is a bit unfair towards Kelly, because they're obviously very different, and I think you can argue that there's some factors outside of Kelly's control that have kind of hindered her success. So things such as colorism, and I don't want to kind of go off topic here, but colorism has always been a factor. Kelly's spoken out about this in the past, but I also think it's affected her personally, so her personal confidence as well as her career as well. She was always too dark, she was not relatable enough, she wasn't sexy enough, all of which was not true. But obviously as a young adult going into the music industry, it can impact your confidence, and also it means that because you're not as confident, the music execs and the record labels are going to be not be as forthcoming with opportunities to help perpetuate your career as well. But I also think that Kelly over the last few years has really grown in her own. She's gained a lot more confidence, and I think the fact that since she's left Destiny's Child, it's really allowed her to shine and kind of grow and develop as an artist. I think a lot of times when you're in a band, whether it's boys or girls, you sometimes don't have the confidence. You're not as strong as a strong personality, so maybe you get overshadowed in the group, and it's not until you leave that group and you have to kind of stand on your own that you learn to develop how to cope with certain situations, how to fight for what you want, how to kind of stand your ground. And I feel that Kelly's kind of got to that point because of things that have happened in her career and no doubt in her personal life, which have kind of meant that she has had to stand on her own and really accept and own that. Overall, I do feel as though Kelly's still trying to find her own lane. And I think she's got a lot of support out there already. It's very clear when she drops new music, a lot of people love it. She gets a lot of positive reviews online. And I think the fact she's quite diverse also goes in her favour. Like I said, she can do R&B, she can do pop, she can do dance music. So, she's very, very diverse. And I'm hoping that, this little EP, coupled with some of the kind of standalone tracks that she's put out recently, kind of lead on to a new album. I believe that Kelly's now gone independent, which I think is definitely the best thing for her. Similar to Sierra, it gives them more creative control, allows them to really kind of forge and craft their own lane and kind of decide where they want to go in the music industry. My only concern is Kelly is not 25 anymore. She's not a young adult, and I'm starting to feel that she might be losing relevancy with certainly the younger audience, because whilst people in their late 20s, 30s and 40s obviously remember Destiny's Child and know who they are, the upcoming teenagers and even the early 20s don't really relate to Kelly in that way. So I'm hoping that whilst she goes down the R&B route and finds success, I think that for a commercial success, she needs to look at that dance route. And as I mentioned, she's worked with Alex Gardino, she's worked with David Guetta, really finding those dance producers to work with, people like Calvin Harris, Diplo, would be great DJs and great producers to work with, because it would really give Kelly that kickstart that she needs. She's already got her star power, people know her name, people know her face, so it's just really getting the opportunity to feature on really, really good songs, and as I said, that would really help to perpetuate her career further and take her to that next level, which I think she needs. So tell me what you think of the EP below. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the Kelly Rowland Edition EP. What, if any, are your favourite tracks? And overall, what are your favourite Kelly Rowland tracks? And where do you think that Kelly Rowland needs to go from a musical direction? Should she stick with R&B, or should she go back to a pop/dance route? So let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share the video, and hit the subscribe button to be notified of when I next upload. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll speak to you next time. Bye.